like to welcome to this edition of EMU Today. Yes, this is our third year, and we are so pleased to be back, and we want you to sit back and relax and enjoy the conversation. And I'm so pleased to welcome a brand new co-host, Alexis Barrett.
Hi.
Alexis, welcome.
Welcome. Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
Good. So you're an EMU student.
Yes, I'm a senior at Eastern, majoring in digital media and cinema studies and journalism with a minor in theater arts.
And where are you from?
I'm from Canton, Michigan.
Canton, Michigan.
Yeah.
Well, welcome to the show. We are so happy to have you, and we have a very, very special first guest here. And I'd like to welcome President Jim Smith, and he is the 23rd president of Eastern Michigan University. President Smith, you've been here before on EMU Today. Welcome back.
Thank you. It's good to be with both of you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We're so glad to have you on this, certainly our brand new show for this particular academic year. A lot of things are happening at Eastern Michigan University.
They are. Big summer. If you've not driven around campus, you probably don't realize it, but both of you have. So about $100 million worth of construction that we were engaging in this summer. As you can tell by the rec IM, there's lots of work there. Sill Hall has been completely demolished. It looks like a parking garage. You can see through the first floor, you can see through the second floor, and see through the third floor. And then we just have projects all over. The Student Athlete Performance Center is finished, and it's open, and I think 5 or 6 parking lot redos for the summer. So it's been really busy.
And I also saw a new advertising campaign that's currently running on air. It's highlighting some of the benefits of the university. And talk to us about that.
Sure. I think one of the most important things, Mark, is for us to tell our story about excellence. People know us as a very diverse campus. I think they know us as a very welcoming campus. They know certain majors. For example, teacher education's been with us since 1849, but they don't know some of the other areas. So we've tried to talk about clinical research administration, for example, master's only program. Most of those students go into the pharmaceutical industry. It's a top 10 program in the country, has been as high as #1 in the country. So we try to talk about that. 17 years now, Princeton Review, Best in the Midwest, College of Business, 15 years in a row for Business College of Excellence. It just goes on, and we try to advertise that now in a more aggressive way so people know a little bit more about specific programs, quality of our faculty, quality of the research that's going on there.
I know just a little bit about COB, the College of Business.
Yeah, you do know a little bit
maybe
about that.
Maybe that's one of the reasons that we're in the top pro.
Right.
No, and as we continue to talk about this new academic year, what are some of the priorities as we look ahead to 2019 and 2020?
Well, again, we're really focusing on our infrastructure because it's what allows our programs to be great. So Sill Hall, for example, is now the College of Engineering and Technology. In order to meet the engineering standards, we have to redo that building. It's a $40 million process. But if you think about the labs that are required for engineering, that building was an industrial arts building. Industrial arts is not engineering.
Yeah.
It's a completely different field of study. So we're focusing on that. We're focusing continuously on academic quality, talking about academic quality. And then, of course, we always want to look at the best and brightest in high schools and how we get them to come to us for now, the fall of 2020. For Alexis, that doesn't seem like a big number. For you and me, it seems like a long time since we were undergraduates.
Yes.
So I was actually wondering about, a few weeks ago I received an email asking to participate in a climate survey called Diversity in Action.
Right.
Could you tell me more about what that
Sure.
entails?
That's a great catch, and thank you for asking. We're going to do focus groups around diversity. We're going to have a video booth that's a little bit like, those of you who listen to NPR, they have a little segment on Fridays where you talk about something that's significant in your life, and we'll have those. And then we will have a campus-wide survey that people will fill out talking about diversity and inclusion and how you feel about diversity issues. We have a very diverse campus, as you know, being a senior. We have students that come to us from all walks of life. We have students, I believe, from 82 different countries that are here. We obviously recruit in the center city, which gives us a lot of diversity, but we have students that come to us from very small towns as well. And we want to talk about all of that in the diversity complex. And then what do we do with that data? How do we make our university more inclusive? How do we get the feel that we're moving forward? And that's the process. We have a president's commission that's leading that, and they'll put all that together and they'll give us an action plan.
Sounds good.
And as a student here, so you've been here for 4 years.
Yes, this is my 4th year.
And talk to us briefly about your experience here on campus and the diversity on campus as a student.
Well, Eastern's a very, obviously diverse campus with lots of different programs to include diversity, lots of clubs and organizations that try to highlight diversity in the program. Being here on my 4th year, I've seen the positives, and I've seen the problems that we've had over the years with the graffiti that happened a few years ago, the negative stuff that's been going on. But I think Eastern has done a really good job at bringing out the positives and keeping positive, keeping up with staying away from that kind of thing.
So the university, to that point, has become much more aggressive in addressing some of those concerns that Alexis just brought up.
Absolutely, and I think one thing that Mark, from your work in the College of Business, for those who don't watch the show every week, Mark's an adjunct faculty, teaches 2 or 3 classes for us most semesters in the College of Business. When I talk to CEOs and when I talk to executives, I hear almost unanimously, I need a young man or a young woman who understands a diverse workplace. So we're trying to build that into the everyday experiences of college life, which is really critical. And thank you for saying we're doing a better and better job, because it's really fundamentally important to not only our student affairs faculty, or our student affairs staff, but our faculty as well. It's a topic that we bring across all lines at the university.
Hey, let me talk to you briefly about the importance of diversity. There was a study done by the Boston Consulting Group. They interviewed over 1,700 organizations across 8 different countries. And an organization that has a diverse team at the senior level and throughout has a 17% more likely chance of increasing revenue. In other words, they can increase their revenue by 17%, as opposed to an organization that's not as diverse, which is clearly, from a business standpoint, is clearly very important. One of the things I want to ask you about is that you are Welcome Here campaign.
Right.
I know you were very proud of that campaign, and then we had the posters on the side of the parking lot on the main campus. Talk to us about the impact of that campaign.
Well, we continue to still do a lot of work overseas. A lot of that is about recruiting and about the feeling that some international students didn't think they would be welcome coming to America. I spent time this summer in Palestine and Jordan and in Israel, and I did hear that from high school students. Why would I come to the U.S. when I can get a visa more quickly to Australia or New Zealand or Canada? And we wanted people to know that we can't control everything that happens in Washington, D.C., but we can control what happens in Ypsilanti.
Yeah.
And that we do welcome students from all over the world. Many of those students did their own costuming. So they wore what they would wear at home, and you'll see that as you run around. The bad news is I think it's coming to an end pretty soon. We're going to go with a new campaign soon, and we'll unveil that either later this semester or sometime in the spring. But it's been a really good one for us. And I'd like to add one that I didn't answer earlier about diversity and the campus diversity action. The number of veterans we have on campus. And we're number 1 in the state of Michigan for veteran friendly. We're number 3 in America for large university campuses, for veterans feeling comfortable on our campus. And I think it's just another slice of diversity sometimes we don't talk about, we don't think about, but those young men and women have served often in Afghanistan or Iraq or wherever they might be during the time of their military service. And to come back and feel at home is really important, and we're very proud of what they do.
And one of the things I've noticed too, President Smith, is that you've been spending a lot of time in Detroit.
Right.
And every time I see a Facebook post, you're in the city, you're doing certain things, but you also spend time with a young Detroiter, EMU alum, I think, who was performing in New York City. Is that right?
That is correct.
Tell us about that experience.
Well, the Ain't Too Proud is a very, very popular Broadway play. And we have a young man that is he plays the character Blue. And if you know the Temptations, Blue had the super low voice, and my wife and I were there. We had front row seats, and we had a chance to go to lunch with him. And in the restaurant, you knew he was the low bass. So when he would laugh, everyone would look at our table. So Juwan Jackson's his name, incredibly talented young man, and he tells a story that He learned to sing the way he sings in a small gospel choir. I believe his grandfather was the pastor and the gospel choir director, and he's certainly done well for himself.
And you've also been traveling, I know we have a couple of ministry bands, you've been traveling internationally as well. You've been, not only just traveled to Detroit and in the Midwest, but you're traveling across the globe. You had an extended trip this summer, I believe.
Right. I mentioned the Israel, Jordan, and Palestine trip. Those are all about creating 2+2 degrees, 3+1 degrees, which the audience may not know a lot about, but 2+2 means you do 2 years in, let's just say, Jordan. And you come here and you finish the next 2 years. And some of those we have dual degrees. So you get a Jordanian degree and a U.S. degree. And that's very desirable in the Middle East. It's desirable in China. I've been to China a number of times. Very desirable in South Korea. So it's one of our ways to get students to come here and really feel like, boy, I can still have my home degree as well.
Sure.
So they have a degree on their wall that I'm going to Saudi Arabia soon that'll have a Saudi Arabian university and have Eastern Michigan side by side. It's pretty important.
Anything you want to say to President Smith in closing?
It was really great talking to you about this, and I really appreciate your opinion on the Diversity in Action campaign, and I hope it goes well.
I do too, and thank you for bringing it up, and have fun on the show. I know in past 2 years you've had a lot of fun, Mark, and he'll torment you a bit, but it'll be good. It'll be all
that
good.
feeling, yeah.
You know, one of the things I love about this show, President Smith, and as we wrap up, is that we've had student co-hosts and other students. This is a student-produced show, so you understand. We've had our previous students have gone on and have gotten jobs in their field.
Correct.
We have one that's working at the local NBC affiliate in Detroit. We have another one that's down the MBA program in West Virginia. So the point here is that this is a wonderful opportunity for Alexis and all of our students who are involved in this program.
Right.
So I want to take this time very much. Thank you for joining us, and really wish you a very successful academic year. Thanks for all the things you're doing.
And it's homecoming week, so we're going to have some fun this week.
We're going to have some fun.
Yeah.
And speaking of fun, the Eastern Michigan University Band had the opportunity of performing at a Detroit Lions game recently. We want you to sit back and enjoy this halftime performance down at Ford Field in the Motor City. Congratulations to the Eastern Michigan University Band for performing down at Ford Field. That was an exciting event for them, a sellout crowd. The Lions are doing okay. I know it's still relatively early in the year, but hey, I'm a true Lions fan as well as true EMU. And again, we're joined by Alexis Barrett, our new co-host, and so far so good?
Very good, yeah.
Good.
I would say so.
All right. And we're going to continue the conversation and talk about a program called Digital Divas. And we have the program director, Bia Hammett. Bia, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me today.
Absolutely. Talk to us about Digital Divas. What is it?
Well, Digital Divas is really a celebration of women in STEM. So what we do is we invite high school, middle school girls from Southeast Michigan to come to campus and attend a conference that's free of charge. And what they do is they experience different hands-on sessions with STEM. It can be from different topics such as drone technology, to 3D printing, to even audio-visual experiences.
And how long has the program been around?
We are now in our 9th year.
Your 9th year.
9th year. We're the longest program of its type that has sustained this long. So we're real proud of that.
If I remember correctly, you started with about 100 students, is that right?
Even less than
Less
that.
than that.
Yeah, so the first go around, we invited one high school in before my time. The first one happened without me. So they had they invited a high school full of girls to attend Digital Divas. And I came on board the second year. And from there, we just grew. So these days, we see about 1,000 to 1,100 girls every year that go through the Digital Diva program.
In my understanding, too, it's primarily middle school students, is that right?
No, so actually middle school girls come in the fall, and we have the high school girls come in the winter semester, which is around April 17th this year, 2020. And that will be our 10th year celebration. So on November 1st, we're going to have about 500 middle school girls come to campus from all over Southeast Michigan. They're coming from Detroit and Lansing and Southfield and Dearborn and Farmington. So they're coming from all different areas. And we actually have private funders to take care of the cost of the program as well as transportation. Because we do this because we don't want anything to roll over on the student or the school district. We want to keep it as easy and accessible for students to come that we can possibly have it.
Alexis, you aware of the program?
I have definitely heard of the program. I've looked it up a little bit actually too. I'm a woman majoring in film studies, which is a male-dominated field.
Yes.
So something like this is really inspiring actually. And thank you for running something like this.
Oh, I'm so glad you looked it up. And
Yeah.
we just want more people to be aware of the problem of females in STEM. Not necessarily the sciences like biology and chemistry, more so like engineering. For example, only 20% of an engineering class is female. By the time they graduate, it's only 18%.
Yep.
And of that, only less than 4% are women of color. So there's definitely a problem. And we want to see more women in engineering because basically an engineer's job is to solve problems. For instance, you could think of things that were developed by men that don't suit women as well. For instance, a car seatbelt. The seatbelt never fits a woman right. So it's problems like that we need more women in the field to solve problems so it works more for diverse people.
I remember we had a conversation on my radio show as well. And I think it was Stephanie, I believe.
Right, Stephanie Price.
And she made an interesting comment, what I never thought about. You could tell that where the gas pedal was designed by a man. Because when we wear flat shoes and we could put our foot on the brake and put our foot on the gas, but when a lady gets in the car, a lot of women will take off the heels and then put on flat shoes. I never even thought about that, which is another example of why diversity and getting people involved in this field is certainly important.
Definitely, definitely.
Talk
we need
to us
more women.
and talk to us about the diversity component. I love the fact that you talk about young women of color and exposing. Why is that important?
Oh my gosh. In so many ways it's important. We need more different, so women from all different backgrounds bring different perspectives on problems. So when we see women who grew up with different circumstances, they have different answers. So they could come at problems better. And Eastern is such a great place to host this event because our campus is so diverse. So we're bringing populations of girls that might not have had a parent or a relative go to college. So for a lot of them, they're coming to our college campus and seeing our students and hopefully identifying with one of these students.
And Alexis, from your standpoint, you've been here for 4 years. Have you noticed the interest in STEM increasing with your classmates, or is there more use of technology in terms of how Eastern's delivering the content to students, such as online programs and other technology-based programs?
Well, I honestly I'm not really involved in STEM in general, but with technology, I definitely would say it's definitely more outreach to like a diverse group of people, to more minorities are being looked out to, especially like in my program itself. When I would do film in like high school or just like technology in high school, I noticed it was like me and just a bunch of men. Like that's it. But now going into college, joining clubs, joining different classes, I'm seeing a more diverse group of people around me.
Okay, and then I understand too, beginning next year, the program is going to be extended to young men called dudettes. Is that right?
No, it's called Digital Dudes.
Oh, digital. Okay, see, duh.
And actually, that's going to
Digital
happen
Dudes.
November 8th.
Is it?
We're going to do our first program, here at Eastern Michigan University. We're really proud. We are inviting middle school boys to come try it out, and we're going to expose them to technology. We're going to expose them to engineering, and hopefully build up interest in those fields, because it's estimated by 2028 we will have a shortage of about 4.8 million engineers, and that's including the generation of engineers that are retiring. So there's going to be a definite need, and engineering is a great field to get into because students can graduate and make so much money in that field, and there's so many jobs and opportunity to move up. So,
And as Michigan continues, and particularly Metro Detroit continues to reimagine itself, we were known as a manufacturing hub and making cars a traditional way. And there's a lot of discussion about autonomous vehicles and mobility. So this program is so important because you're exposing young people at a young age about the changing dynamic of the marketplace. That's important to them to prepare them for the future jobs.
yeah, absolutely. We definitely, especially here in Michigan, want to promote how special these automotive industries are and how we can just feed right into them with our graduates.
Yeah, and talk to us about what can people expect. You said it's upcoming in November. When is the date for the upcoming event in November? And what can people expect that day?
Yeah, Digital Divas is Friday, November 1st, and Digital Dudes is Friday, November 8th.
Okay, and so the divas and the dudes.
You got
So
it.
when they come for that day, what is the experience going to be like?
So they come in the morning and they hear a keynote speaker. The keynote speaker is usually somebody who, just comes and energizes the crowd and makes it notable that I did it and you can do it too. Not only that, it's just that support, that identifying a role model. So after the keynote speaker, they would then go into 2 different breakout sessions of their choice and do hands-on projects. And in between, we sandwich in a lunch. And like I said, it's all free for the participants. And we're real proud of that. And we're really grateful to our sponsors for flipping the bill for everything. AT&T is our main sponsor this year, DTE Energy, Consumers Energy. We have such Mercedes-Benz Financial, AAUW. We have such great supporters, and we're really proud of that.
So Alexis, you know what STEM stands for?
That's a good question.
And so I want you to explain to our viewers exactly what STEM represents.
STEM is an acronym. It stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math.
Okay, and then see, she did it for me as well. No, just kidding. So as we talk about these young people, have we been able to track the results of those who've gone through the program, or is that still something that we've not, as a university, been able to do?
Unfortunately, we have not tracked that information yet. We don't have a system in place to take care of that, so we hope to get that done one year. But I do have good stories about people who have come from the time they were in middle school, graduated from EMU, and then came back as a professional and volunteered for us. So it's really a wonderful program.
And the program does rely on volunteers as well.
It's all volunteer based. We don't pay anybody. We just, everybody comes and gives up their time and their energy for that special day. And there's a lot of planning that goes on beforehand. You know, we have these great people from organizations that get together and plan these breakout sessions for these students. And it's an hour and a half long, these breakout sessions. It's not something simple. There's shopping to be done. There's practice of building or doing and planning and getting people together and taking time off of their work. So it's a passion project for a lot of people who volunteer.
And so people are viewing and they're hearing this program, they're excited about it. How do they get more information, including signing up for it?
The best thing to do is go to our website. It's emich.edu/digital divas.
Okay, one more time.
emich.edu/digital divas.
You know anything about the program today? Did you
I
know
learned a
anything?
lot. Yeah, I knew it took place with lectures and classes, but I didn't really know all those details about it. So could someone like me volunteer?
Oh, I wish
to
you
help?
would. That would be
Yeah,
awesome.
That's really cool.
Yeah, definitely, especially with your skill in communications. You know, I'm sure there's something that we can think of, a great breakout session.
Awesome.
Well, as we're wrapping up, I'm going to look into the camera and ask, if you want to volunteer for this program, Digital Divas, please go to the website and check it out. Alexis, I want to thank you for your very first made your boy, you know, your bon voyage, or the other way around, made voyage, right? How'd you feel?
I feel pretty good.
Good,
I'm
good.
excited for the semester.
Outstanding. Bia Hammett, thank you very much. We appreciate you coming in.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And we appreciate you for viewing this week's EMU Today. We will check you out next time on EMU Today.